for this morning, I want you to consider this as a good definition for sales that's going to guide us through what we're talking about. Whoops, I'm too fast. And that definition would be getting what you ask for. Think about that for a minute. Getting what you ask for. What I've discovered in researching my book, Life is Sales, is that Canadians are rather humble people. We don't really like to ask for the business. We'd much prefer to hint at the business instead. Now, you're all salespeople. You don't live on a salary. Why in the world would you prefer to hint at what you want rather than just simply ask for what you want? What are you afraid of? They might say no, and then we don't know what to do. Because as soon as someone says no, what happens? We take it personally, as a personal rejection against us. And then we feel bad. Therefore, we hint instead, so that if the prospective client says no, it's still okay, because we didn't really ask for anything in the first place. We hinted. So when they say no, we're feeling pretty good. We don't get any extra business, mind you, but we feel a lot better. How many people here have a little voice in your head that talks to you pretty well, nonstop, every day, all day long? Anybody got more than one little voice? You might need to consider some therapy for that one. Everyone has a little voice that talks to you in your head pretty well, nonstop, all day long. And that little voice is telling you, I've knocked on 7 doors in a row, and they all said no. The little voice says, this is pretty painful. Don't be doing that anymore. Go for a coffee. That little voice is trying to protect you from feeling bad. That's what it does. That's exactly what it does. So but what's really happening is it is limiting you from achieving what it is you could achieve. So I'm going to suggest that a simple process for us all to deal with that little voice, knowing it's in there, knowing it's bothering us, is to know what it is you want and then learn to just ask for that. And we're going to talk a little bit about some moments of opportunity that occur. But what happens with that little voice is when you have rejection 4 or 5 times in a row, you revert to the magic document called a brochure. A brochure rarely has sold anything. And yet, as soon as we're in any kind of difficulty with a client, what do? Well, here's our brochure. And you know when people phone you up and they try to sell you something, what do you say to them? Send me a brochure. And when you get the brochure, what do you do with it? You're in the people business. It's all about, you heard it, it's all about relationships, all about connections. And that's what we're going to talk about.